Usually, you fall back into this Ari. Again, it checks the mark with the single target CC as the charm. So RRQ will go focus now on this Ziggs. With if they do lock this Camille in, then it's possibly towards for Hyde.
And that would have been pretty massive if they lock it in, which they did. Because these counters onto mobile champions and Corki and Ari are all mobile champions because Hextech Ultimatum is a point-and-click CC against the enemy team. So now LIYAB Esports needs to play against this with also an early aggression, and Xin Zhao is a very good duelist against Lee Sin in the early game if you're to follow through onto the Brown Lane matchup.
Yeah, imagine they do have that charm as well to assist with the CC. RRQ finishing this. This is such a classic matchup, by the way. Zed and Ari. That is a classic matchup from League PC. So we're going to expect a lot of, again, the dodgy, both of these players dodging the scale shots and as well as charm timings after the death mark. Lulu though, gonna get picked up by LIYAB just to counter out any possible assassination attempt because there's practically 3 assassins on RRQ. Lee Sin, Camille, and as well as Zed. When you have the wild growth on someone with a target on the death mark, it basically sort of becomes a soft counter for the ult to proc through.
And now here's the thing. RRQ hasn't picked any marksman in their composition. They played Ziggs and Braum into the bottom lane, and I think LIYAB Esports is thinking, we need something very safe, as you talked about a while ago, because Ziggs is going to be very, very hyper-aggressive in this early game state, wherein he can just throw bombs, and Corki cannot do anything, because if you're looking at pre-level 5, he doesn't have any long-range shots against Ziggs that can bring him down.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. The range is so much better for Ziggs, and level 5 with the rockets will help alleviate the pressure from the bouncing bombs coming from Marky. So this is completely different. We've seen Marky in such a scary traditional marksman before, from the Lucian, from the Kaisa back in the summer season. So this is a refreshing sight to see, especially when we look into the meta of, again, mage bot laners in Wild Rift.
Don't look at how RRQ is playing this, right? We're playing basically the classic game of Wild Rift because they bring in Ziggs as the marksman into the bottom lane as a dragon laner, and they brought into the mid lane of these duo to get that clear out easy against LIYAB Esports and then give a funnel onto Golden Experience onto Marky and Hex.
It's similar. I believe we did see a small throwback of the 1-3-1, where it was the Kaisa Janna basically roaming, clearing the wave at mid, and then moving to the side lanes. Meanwhile, it is now another classic, actually, a throwback to the summer season matchup, where it's Fiora and Camille. And I believe usually in these matchups, it's usually Fiora winning this, just because when you come to level 5, the Hextech Ultimatum versus the Grand Challenge, it is very... it works in Dawn's favor because that's what Dawn wants you to do, be in close quarters for the vital spots to proc.
And I think there are a lot of options to take in, but here RRQ went in mid lane, tries to go for the gank here, but no kills will be done. Both are safe coming in from mid lane gank.
Flash, though, being consumed already coming from Nixu, so his lane is going to be a little bit vulnerable pre-level 5 without the Spirit Rush. Of course, you want to keep the Spirit Rush for more aggressive plays later on. And so far, though, it is going to be 1 Scuttler apiece for both of these junglers as a secure. We'll see now how this skill matchup is going to go, at least for the pre-level 5, especially how you time the riposte stuns up against Hyde.
Yeah, especially onto the hook shot because it gives you stun. If Hyde connects that, pretty much Dawn is going to have a troublesome laning phase against these champions. But considering the repos are there to just go for some pokes, to just go for some counters, onto Sama, how hides his pressure onto the top side, which we can see right now into 1v1. It's really just dominating from Dawn.
I gotta say, Dawn is so patient. He could have flashed onto the vital points, but he wanted to reserve the flash and barrier in case Chaz takes a visit at top side. And as well as, since the Infernal Drake will be the first dragon, of course they're going to contest that. So it's really smart that he didn't go the greedy path and just kept the summoner spells and then, kept it for the next fight.
And I think the reason for this is we need to look back at what we talked about in the past, wherein the first blood, yes, it's significant, but is it really important? Because the travel time from the base onto the lanes is probably around 10 to 20 seconds, including death timers, so not as much in the first 5 minutes into the game. So I think LIYAB Esports is thinking, you know what, we need the flash much better because that is 120 seconds cooldown if we let it through to just get one kill. And LIYAB Esports wants to have that engagement and disengage potential with a flash available.
They wanted to reserve that for the bigger, impactful fights. As now Miggy, though, he's going to be fine for now. Nixu is just right around the corner. But now level 5s are kicking in. That means Miggy will survive a little bit more in the skirmishes. Chaz can potentially do a Dragon's Rage kick, but you decide not to go for it. It's too risky. I mean, that's more right the boy on a Lulu. That's an easy wild growth. Chaz will go in, and then boom, he gets knocked up. So they have to consider...
Here onto the top side, so 1v1. This is what they were considering onto pressuring. But still no kills will be done. Very passive for these two teams.
Exactly. This is a very heated 1v1 at top side over here. And now we get to see the similarity of the item build paths, I suppose, when it comes to the early game spike for Chaz and Helios. Left to see now as Infernal Drake has spawned.
They're built to be mobile. So I think Yumu's Ghostblade is so much to deal with for Chaz and Helios coming in from the damage aspect category against LIYAB Esports. And I think this could be a lot of assassination prowess against LIYON and Nixu as well. But here we go. We have RRQ now starting on to the Infernal Dragon. LIYAB Esports needs to go for the contest if they want to get that early lead away from RRQ. But considering you have RRQ with a lot of zoning capabilities, they're going to get the Infernal Dragon easy.
Again, this composition from LIYAB, they're very heavily reliant on the charm to engage in fights and see if they can catch people off guard. But the thing is, the range coming from RRQ, especially if they want to take out Marky right away, it's a little bit difficult. So they have to assemble either a flank. Now LIYAB, though, they are going to focus on this Rift Herald instead as a trade. But look at RRQ. They want to contest this one.
Yeah, and they do what they wanted. It's gonna be done, getting the kill down, but with a perfect repost. But it's not gonna be enough to put down RRQ into the ground. That's gonna be the kill extra for RRQ to put in. Now they want to drive in, they want to try and get the kills. Lulu will fall down to the hands of Helios. They want to go for more. Double kill from Helios. Getting the kills down onto Miggy as well. Now Nixu will be the follow-up. That's gonna be the 4 kills coming in from RRQ in that fight alone. Hashtag worth it.
Hashtag worth it indeed. They got a ton of bonus on the board as well. Tons of kills. 4-0 now at the start. Not only did they get the Infernal Drake, but they also reset it in time for them to climb to the Rift Herald and then, bother LIYAB a little bit because LIYAB had to sacrifice 4 lives in exchange of the Rift Herald. And that is not going to be pretty because we've seen how RRQ is so good in accelerating the game whenever they get an early lead. And it's incredibly scary if there's Hyde on this Camille, Chaz on the Lee Sin as well. We've seen how these picks can potentially snowball.
Right, and just the amount of gold that they've gotten, not just because of that 4 kills, not just because of Infernal Dragon, but also the Tower First Blood that they've taken away from the LIYAB Esports is just too much. And look at the 4K gold lead for RRQ in the first 6 minutes into the game. And LIYAB Esports needs to answer this with something. And the Rift Herald spawned into the bot lane is something that they want to do, but RRQ is pressuring in mid lane on a 4-man roam against LIYAB Esports.
Oh,
now they're gonna get a kill, while Nixu is gonna get that rat from RRQ, getting that dive in, 200 HP from the third down. This might be a kill, but Hyde, you know what? He's risking his life to get the third down, but at the end of the day, they're gonna take it down, and they're gonna take the map control.
It is insane how much that they got 4 kills. That means there's no fear in continuing with the tower dives. They know that, especially if Right the Boy is not present elsewhere, and RRQ, that means that's their goal signal to burst people down. They know that they have the capability of doing so. And now it is going to be an unfortunate start so far for LIYAB. And this has been the strength of RRQ. Their early game, the way that they control the map, the way that they're so confident in these engages are just so hard to detract.
Yeah, and just we have to look at how much jungles that we can see here for RRQ and LIYAB Esports. And we see Lee Sin going bot lane, going for the Dragon's Rage onto the Fiora, and now he goes down. I think that will be an extra turret coming from RRQ as well.
Yeah, it's so hard when you want to decide to defend a tower and you die. You lose a tower as well because of how Ziggs can just infinitely destroy your towers every single time with the satchel. And imagine they got what, 1 kill in the bottom lane? You lose 2 towers. That's the power of a Ziggs.
And it's just the sieging potential that can lead you into those type of advantages. And I think LIYAB Esports needs to understand that letting this one man separating onto the division here for each and every lane have that susceptibility for RRQ to now dive in, especially with that bot lane and top lane, because it is so far from each either lanes. And now LIYAB Esports is now going to pressure in. That's it, going for the Mega Inferno Bomb, but they're disengaging. But Chaz wants to go for more. That's going to be Dragon's Rage onto Leon. Good Stasis Enchant will delay some more fights. Now it's going to be the follow through from Nixo as well. Go for the Stasis. RRQ is now going to down one member from himself.
The Flash?
Charm coming in from Hyde. He's not going to get the kill. And LIYAB Esports is going to go back to safety. Oh, the Flash as well.
Word! What did Marky do? He used a satchel to a bouncing bomb to jump, and then Nixu was forced to flash away just for that safety. RRQ, even though on paper it seemed like they lost that fight, LIYAB had to run away, had to lose more in their jungle as well. But at least they're able to get a shutdown. And that gold went to Elian there. So that is a little bit of that shining hope. It doesn't change the fact that Marky already has that Rabadon. So his bombs are going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, it's going to be explosive from Marky when you receive so much damage coming into this one. But RRQ is now starting onto the Ocean Draken. And the rest will go for the fight here against LIYAB Esports. Denmark goes in onto Miggy. So much damage. Mega Inferno Bomb is not going to connect, but Denmark's damage is now going to be enough to put him away. Now it's going to be a member advantage for RRQ as they got a kill onto Miggy. LIYAB Esports needs to defend the mid lane. The RRQ is wanting to go for some pressures here in this lane in particular, but rather go back into the red buff, get the steal down, and go back to safety.
RRQ going to be satisfied with that for sure, especially that they're slowly creeping vision control over LIYAB's jungle. So Don is spotted over here. He is that bottom side is gonna be very hard to try and take control with 2 towers down already on the board for them. Looking at the itemizations, already Yomus and as well as Black Cleaver completed for Helios and Chaz. And they also have 3 kills apiece. Now with that Proto Belt as well for Chaz, he's able to escape danger and as well as close the gap up against LIYAB. So far though, for Nixu, the sweet spot is getting the Rabadons as well to match the magic damage coming from Marky. Biggest problem is Marky is such a far away spot in the backline. It's just so hard to reach him. And they will have to rely on vision if they want to set up these sneaky assassination attempts onto Marky's life. And so far, it hasn't been the best, and RRQ is keeping up with their lead.
And on top of the range gap, I think we have to look at how much mobile RRQ's composition is. Hyde can go for the hook shot, get that gap in when it comes to the distance game. Chaz and Helios can just dash in. And on top of all that, you have the Yumus Ghost Blade with extra mobility. So on top of all this, so much mobility for RRQ built into their composition. And complementing that is their item build onto Chaz and Helios. That really delays how much LIYAB Esports can access onto Marky. And with Hex defending it, that adds an extra level of security for RRQ to really just let Marky deal out so much damage.
Yeah, they've got Shred making pretty much the rest of LIYAB. A little bit of that squishiness. And then you add in that magic damage on the board, just as you mentioned in Marky for the Ziggs. Now they're doing this 1-3-1 because that's how the Zed works. He's able to split push alongside with Hyde as well, a top side. And of course, with the wave clear coming from Marky, how can you stand under tower?
Yeah, they're going for the tier 2 turret, and LIYAB Esports cannot do anything about it. Look at the
damage.
Mega Inferno Bomb. Morida boy, 100 to 20%. So much damage built into Marky right now.
Yeah, it was 100 to 20% real quick. Now, another solo kill happening. And courtesy of Helios there, using the Ignite as well as just every damage. She is what? 2 levels behind? We'll have to see though.
Look at this. He's standing alone. He's baiting in the enemy team. Hexic Automated will be forced though. Miggy wants to go for the response, but he's too far away. He's too quick. LIYAB Esports doesn't get the trade, and RRQ is gonna go home with a kill.
We're able to get more kills and more towers as well, even removing the mid lane. This is so difficult because, again, looking at LIYAB's composition, this is such an early game centric comp with the Xin Zhao, with the Ahri as well, and now they're practically behind up against Helios and Chaz, at least for that duo. Now Solari Charge Blade. That's the second item spike for LIYAB at least. But the biggest question is, will he be able to match Marky? Will he be able to get space enough for him to poke as a Corki? Because it's so difficult with these champions from RRQ that there's Chaz, there's Hyde and Helios that are going to basically annoy the backline. And Marky is going to outrange LIYAB as well on this Zig. So the options are looking pretty limited at this point. I think the only saving grace is that Rabadon's for Nixu. So get the charm in, get the combo if you catch someone like a squishy member from RRQ. Like that.
And now, it's gonna be Ahri going for the charm, gets kill onto Marky. Marky overextended. They have to be punished. LIYAB Esports got the opportunity. Now the wild growth. Extra sustainability coming in for LIYAB Esports. RRQ gonna get the Cloud Dragon. They're now going for the counter engage. RRQ wants to go for the kill. That's gonna be 5-man knockup with a special delivery in.
Oh my word.
LIYAB Esports defends him onto Helios, but Helios will be slain by LIYAB Esports. And now there's gonna be a 5v2 situation in favor of LIYAB Esports, pressuring in mid lane. They want to pressure in. They want to get the trade. They want to get a turret. They need this gold to win this game. RRQ is going for the defense, though. So much damage coming in. Defensive capabilities is delaying LIYAB Esports' push.
And they want to get this tower down. There's still 10 seconds on the clock, relatively long right now. While Dawn will decide to push the bottom side of the map. Try as much as he can to even out the map score. Because again, inner and outer tower is gone in favor of RRQ. And this is what we talked about, the shining light, the shining ray of hope. It is Nixu with the charms. This will be a huge key skill for LIYAB to be able to get pickoffs, especially that, you know, they're still behind. It's like a 9k gold deficit and 3 dragons in favor of RRQ. And if it's an all-out 5v5, it's going to be a struggle.
In addition to that one, I think Wild Growth will be also key ultimate coming for LIYAB Esports, especially the gap consideration of 8k gold lead right now for RRQ against LIYAB Esports. So I think that's going to be important for them to utilize. Now it's going to be Miggy going in top side of the map, going ahead of the curve here against Hyde. But you have Hex going through
Nixu
defense against LIYAB Esports. Nixu going for this charm onto Chaz. But no follow through in terms of damage. Look at Mega Inferno bomb from Rida Boy getting from 100 to 20%. And Zeds gets the kill from the Shuriken and the Death Mark. And now Helios is pushing in bot lane. LIYAB Esports to lose an inhibitor turret.
This is... I mean, if RRQ stayed a little bit more, they could have gotten the second tier tower at topside. But the aim is this Baron. It's going really down fast.
They really want to pressure in. Hexic Automated mode will go onto Miggy. Miggy will die, and LIYAB Esports to lose their jungler. Now RRQ has all the statements and opportunity to go for the Baron Nashor for free.
It is so hard. With Marky there guarding this Baron, you cannot exactly go near. And now with no jungler, that means this is a free Baron. This is RRQ looking to close the game. No one can deal with Helios. You'll have to invest resources to match him up and punish him with his split push. But if you do, then you'll lose your defense up against Marky's sieging power on this Ziggs.
That Mark coming in, Corki is now gonna receive that. Wild Growth will save his life. Look at the HP bar of LIYAB on receiving 30% damage, going back into the base, getting that regen up. And Helios is happy with that damage, zoning away the enemy team.
Yeah, here comes the 1-3-1 again. With the Baron empowered minions, they're aiming to remove everything away from LIYAB. And now an attack.
Jumps in. That's gonna be a lot of damage come through. Morita Boy needs to go back away. Look at the mid lane though. LIYAB Esports trying to go for the defense against 3-man roam from RRQ.
Yeah, this is still another siege. This is still LIYAB playing defense. Topside could potentially be open. Look at the tower, he's gone!
Charm connecting onto Lee Sin. Lee Sin will go back away though. That's gonna be a huge save coming in from RRQ's side. Gets the inhibitor turret in mid lane and top lane though. And now a lot of pressure is onto the shoulders of LIYAB Esports to go for the defense. As now it's gonna Corky heading into the Hectic Ultimatum. That's gonna flash and Valkyrie away to go into the base, but the Nexus base will fall down as RRQ will take the first game in the series.